All right, it's Jeep Update 65, and 65 is reassembly. It's making progress, and the goal is to get this thing put back together, get the roll cage in, and get the hood on, troubleshoot a couple of minor issues, and see if I can get the roll cage in. So let's see how far we get, and hope you enjoy the video. All right, so we have a few things left to do to the Jeep, and as you can see, the roll bar and sport cage, certainly one of those things. That's coming up, but before I do that, I've got to fix this dash. And there's nothing wrong with it except for the fact that it's kind of being pushed out, and it's being pushed out by the heater cable at the top, the one that goes around to your fresh air vent. And I don't really know why it's being pushed out by that, because it's the same heater cable that was in there. So I have to figure that out. Maybe I routed it in the wrong way. So I got to do that. And down here, probably can't see that too well, but I got to hook up my two heater cables down here. There is the damaged wiper switch that the bezel won't thread on to those threads right there. And again, as I said in the last Jeep update, I don't know if I did that or it came like that, so I'm not really sure. But I've got the bezels. I also have to put my new headlight switch in. I haven't done that yet. And then obviously button up this steering column. There's a steering wheel there. So that's what I have left to do in there. Once that stuff's done, then I'll put the roll cage in. And then the last thing that I have to do is fix the hood, and there's nothing wrong with the hood. What's wrong with it is it's hitting on the radiator cap right there. And so, you know, when I clearanced this thing, I made sure it didn't hit that, the big brake booster, because it's really, really close to that. And I didn't think, well, the radiator wasn't in the Jeep when I checked the clearance of the hood for the brake booster. But now when you shut it, shut the hood, that side goes down, and this side does not. And it's kind of hard to see, but it's hitting on that radiator filler neck and then the radiator cap. So I have an idea to identify where I need to cut, because I'll have to take the hood off to cut it. And I've got some double-sided tape, and let me show you what I'm going to do here. Alright, so I had this idea to put the double-sided tape on there, and I didn't peel the strip off the other side, so it's not sticky on that side. It's only sticky on the top. And I originally thought I might use duct tape, but duct tape is just kind of too flimsy. And my dad suggested that I use chalk, like from a chalk line, and I think that would work fine if I didn't have that pressure release valve on my radiator cap. So I'm going to try this and see if it works. And if it works, this will give me a very good idea of where I'm going to need to cut somewhere on that piece right there. So let me shut this hood. And I'm just going to kind of push down a little bit. Now let me open the hood. And it worked perfectly. So I'm actually really impressed that that worked. So that definitely gives me the exact place to cut, and how deep, or I guess how close to the front of the Jeep it goes, so I don't overcut, and I can really make a pretty precise cut with that starting point. Alright, so let me unbolt this hood real quick, and then I'm going to ask the wife to come out here and help me take it off, because I can lift it myself, but it's just safer with two people. And at this point in the project, I don't want to drop it, scratch it, or mess it up in any way. So I'm going to ask her to come out here and help me, and we're going to walk it down, and then I'm going to draw that out with a marker, and then I'm going to cut that piece out, and then we'll put it back on and see if it fits. Alright, so here's the underside of my hood. There's where the piece of tape was, and there's my expert art. I didn't even use a ruler, as you can probably tell. So conveniently, there's those two holes down there, so I'll cut across the bottom there and then just cut that square out. Probably not going to look the best, but you're really never really going to see that. and there's other holes and stuff already in that hood brace, so I think that's going to work. And the tape kind of represents the furthest that the radiator cap stuck out, so I think I'm good with the line I drew, and I don't have to cut, you know, the whole thing. I can just cut on that line. So let's get it cut and let's see if it fits. All right, so there's the cutout, and you know, I don't think that looks that bad. I know there's some raw metal edges there, and I'm going to hit that with a little bit of clear coat spray paint, just so it's not so it doesn't rust. And obviously, I'll get that black marker off there, but that doesn't look that bad in relation to the rest of the hood support. And I think that's going to clear it. I really think that's going to solve the problem. So now we got to test fit the hood and make sure it clears. Alright, so the hood is just kind of loosely mounted. The hinges are still loose so I can adjust it. I just want to see if this is going to work. So the latch is connected. There she is. Perfect. This side sticks out a little bit more, but that kind of has always done that. This hood, I've always kind of had an issue with this hood, but I decided to keep it just because it's original, and the aftermarket ones that you can buy are just not as heavy duty. So it sticks out a little bit on this end, and it's tweaked a little bit right over here. It won't look that bad once I get the hinges tightened up, but yeah, it's a little tweaked there, and it's rubbing the paint. So a little tweaked, but hey, it works. And my idea with the double-sided tape and putting it on there gave me a perfect template to cut that out, and it's a perfect fit. So that is problem solved, and I'm going to get this thing lined up, get my hood hinges tightened up, and my hood is done. Check that off the list. Alright, so I almost had it, and let me show you what's happening now. So I shut the hood, shut the hood, front closes, and this side's not closing, and I can take a flashlight with the hood barely open and I can see exactly what it's hitting on, and let me show you. Alright, so in order for this grill support rod to fit, I had to move it away from the factory hole in the middle to this hole over here, and also put it on the top to avoid hitting the brake booster. And that's what's preventing my hood from coming down in this corner right here. So let me try to figure something out here. So I think I'm going to try to move it down. It will probably rub a little bit here on the brake booster, but I'm okay with that. So let me try that. Alright, so if you see what I did there, I moved the radiator support rod from the top of that platform there to the bottom. And I thought it would hit, but miraculously it doesn't rub. It's real close, but it sure doesn't rub. So I'm happy about that, and I had to take that off, that piece there, and just tighten that back up. And now let's see if that solves the issue. Alright, so still too big of a gap there, and I think I've come to the conclusion that it is hitting the power brake booster, and I don't know how much I can do about that. So I don't know. I know I can cut the bottom of the hood, cut a little groove out or something, a rectangle for that booster to sit in, but is that worth it for that little bit of a gap? Because everywhere else on the hood looks pretty good, and this side's already kind of tweaked anyways, and I've known that. But I asked Kelly, my wife, what do you think? And she's like, that's a pretty big gap. So that's kind of compelling me to want to fix it. So let me see if I can do the double-sided tape test with the power booster and see if it's actually rubbing. Alright, so there's my double-sided tape, and if that sticks to the bottom of the hood, then I would say it's hitting, because I don't really see any marks there or anything. So let me test it. And there it is. So it's definitely hitting. And I would need to cut out some kind of a rectangle around that. It's just not going to give you a lot because there's just not... No, actually, you can't cut that out. That's your hood. So you can kind of see right there on the top of the booster where it's starting to rub a little bit. And I know I already have the brackets adjusted all the way down for the brake booster. So I was thinking this was two-ply, kind of like this, where you could cut into it. But nope, that's your hood. So there's nothing I can do about that gap. I think that's a 9-inch booster, and I know that they sell an 8-inch booster, and I could buy an 8-inch booster and put that in. But that would require, it actually is not too bad to change out, but they're just expensive to just buy, and there's nothing wrong with that one. So thinking I'm gonna, at least for now, live with that gap. All right, so I've been thinking about this, and I'm not gonna just live with it. I've come so far with this Jeep, and I'm gonna fix this somehow. So I can't do anything up here. That's all pretty set. But you've got 4 bolts that hold that booster on a bracket that doesn't have enough adjustability for what I need, and then you've got 4 bolts that hold it to the firewall that connects to your pedal bracket, and that really is, it really doesn't have enough adjustability either, because I would need to go up with it, and there's just not enough room. So down there I'm fine, but up here that's not going to work. So the only thing I can think to do is to and God, I hate to do this, but take this bracket off, which means I have to take my pedals off and everything, unhook the brakes. I think I can leave the actual brake lines hooked up and kind of zip tie this thing to that radiator support, get the bracket off, get the booster off, and then somehow weld a plate on the bottom of that to give me enough room to be able to drill a hole, I'd say about 3/4 of an inch center to center below where they're currently bolted in. So that means fabricating a piece of metal, you know, welding that in, grinding the welds down, sanding it down, painting it, priming it, painting it, drilling the holes, and then coming back up here and putting it all back together. So as close as I am to finishing this Jeep, there's been a few things that are just really have really been irritating, and this is one of the unforeseen ones. So, you know, when we checked the hood for clearance with the brake booster mounted, I remember specifically that we checked the hood. You know, we checked for clearance up here. I didn't walk around to the corner to look here, and I don't know why I didn't think to do that. First time doing this, so rookie mistake. But I should have thought to do that, and I should have had the radiator installed as well. And you know, I think lesson learned here is take your time, because I've taken this brake booster on and off so many times already, and I've taken the pedals out and put them back in so many times. It's not difficult to do. It's a little more difficult to do now with the dash on and the wiring in, but this is something I easily could have caught a long time ago and fixed it then. So I'm going to give this some thought, and I'm going to come up with a solution, because I am not going to be okay with that gap that was over here. So I've done too much and come too far with this Jeep to just accept that at this point. So I'm going to give this some thought and figure out what to do and how to fix it. All right, so all that figuring out for the power brake booster, and I just ended up buying a new one. This is a 7-inch booster compared to the 9-inch booster that I had previously, and it actually clears really nice. I was able to move this prop rod back to its factory position, and nothing touches, nothing hits. Probably will give me a little bit less pedal pressure, but I think it'll be fine for a Jeep, such a light vehicle. So anyways, I was going to fabricate up a bracket, figure something out, and ended up just buying a 7-inch booster. So if anybody needs a 9-inch booster, hit me up and let me know. Alright, so one thing I did do is I did finally get this garage cleaned up, and it's not perfect, but it sure looks a lot better than it did. Alright, so that hood fought me every step of the way. The brake booster, I swear it fit when I mocked it up. And I know that I just looked at the front the front hinge to make sure the hood would close. I didn't even think to go around to the sides and look, and I knew it was tight, but it was hitting. So like I said, I ended up buying a different brake booster, and that solved the problem. And I've driven the Jeep since adding the smaller brake booster, and the pedal pressure's fine. So the 7-inch brake booster, to me it's fine. It works really, really well, and I don't really have a problem with it at all. Alright, so the next Jeep update will probably be the assembled complete Jeep, and hopefully I'll have the exhaust put on and let you listen to how it sounds. I'm again putting 2 Flowmaster 40 mufflers on there, and hopefully tame that motor a little bit, quiet it down, because it's really loud with just the headers on it. Certainly not going to get any Neighbor of the Year awards this year for sure. So my last video I introduced my next project, and I just showed a car under a cover and said, hey, can you guess what this car is? And I couldn't believe you guys guessed it right. So most people were guessing, there were some random guesses there, and I get that. I personally would have never got that right, but a couple people guessed Camaro. One guy guessed 76 Camaro, and it's a 78 Camaro, so that's pretty darn close. So good job identifying the next project, and I'm going to do an introductory video on that car very soon, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be a lot quicker of a build than the Jeep was, because it's already at a pretty good place right now. So that's coming up soon. So stay tuned to the channel for more cool videos to come. I've got the 78 Camaro build that's going to start, and my buddy Matt is making progress on his $1,000 square body that he got. I'm going to do an update on that and show you guys some of the body work he's done, because he's moving pretty quick on it. And then of course continue to do Jeep updates, and the next Jeep update will probably be, again, not the final Jeep update, because I'm going to continue to do Jeep updates. There just won't be as many of them, but it'll be the Jeep that's finished, and we all know that you're never finished, right? So the Jeep updates will continue to come. They just won't be as regular, and I'll shift gears and probably focus on that Camaro, because I got big plans for that thing. So if you like this video, like the content of the channel, hit that subscribe button. And hey, thanks for watching.